Hello, welcome to this update for the severe weather. So let's see what's happening today, Sunday, May 18th. So we have now this moderate risk across northern Oklahoma into Kansas, and this big enhanced risk goes all the way from Texas to Nebraska. So let's see what are the main key messages with this, and then we'll see the outlook. So south central Kansas, northwest Oklahoma, several tornadoes, a few intense tornadoes, scattered large hail, some baseball size, and isolated damaging winds. Severe thunderstorms capable of all hazards are expected later today across parts of central southern plains. Several strong to intense tornadoes are possible, and several. So this will be very dangerous. So please stay safe. Review your severe weather safety procedures for the possible dangerous weather today. Stay tuned to the lower weather radio or weather.gc.ca or other media for watches and warnings. A tornado watch means conditions favorable for tornadoes to form during the next several hours. If a tornado warning is issued for your area, move into a place of safety, ideally in a basement or interior room, lowest floor of a sturdy building. So please stay safe. You saw what happened a few days ago. Take this very seriously. Please stay safe. And the full outlook here shows other two slight risk along Georgia and Alabama, Mississippi, and Arkansas slight risk. This slight risk goes all the way from Texas to Nebraska. So please be careful too. And the moderate and the enhanced risk. So there's 15% chance of tornado hatched and 10% from Oklahoma to Colorado, Kansas, and southern Nebraska, and 15% along Kansas and Oklahoma, especially south central Kansas and northwest Oklahoma. So please stay safe. Have many ways to receive warnings. The 2% goes as far east as Missouri, and the 5% down to Texas. So please stay safe. Wind 15% in all the slight risks, and the enhanced risk as well in other areas, and 15% in the southeast. So be careful. Also, this area of southeastern Wyoming into Nebraska and Colorado. There's hail, 30% hatched, goes all the way from Texas to Nebraska. So very, very large hail. Please stay safe. Be careful with that. So let's see if there's something important here. So they do say confidence is greatest scared supercells develop across west and southwest Kansas later this afternoon as CI and H erodes amid strong boundary layer heating and very extremely unstable air mass with long hodographs will rapidly promote supercell evolution with any sustained maturing updraft. The LLG's forecast to intensify during the late afternoon and evening as enlarged photographs supporting tornado potential. The combination of sheer buoyancy will become very favorable for intense supercells capable of large to giant hail, potentially 3 to 4 inches plus in diameter. So that's very serious too, and strong to intense tornadoes, especially from western Oklahoma northward into south central western Kansas. So please stay safe. This is no joke. There's here the her. Let's find south, see if it shows Kansas and Oklahoma. We can see Texas here, so let's see. It shows this afternoon spots of Arkansas into Oklahoma, some cells as well, but the main event later today shows in southern Kansas, you can see there, and shows some scared stronger ones in Texas too. So this goes some more in Oklahoma, and then still shows tomorrow there. But let's go slightly further north into Kansas, because shows those main cells south central Kansas in the motor risk, very intense cells, that white and that black, so could easily tap into that unstable environment and produce some intense tornadoes. So please be careful if you are there. Later in the evening shows more around Nebraska, more spots of Kansas, and those ones keep intensifying in southern Kansas. And later shows this big blob of storms. Many areas goes all the way from Oklahoma to Nebraska, and these ones around Kansas, Oklahoma, still the strongest ones. Then this goes still some storms during the night, and then tomorrow will also be dangerous. So please stay safe. There's Cape shows like in Oklahoma it's nearly to 6,000 joules per kilogram for the Oklahoma. The Cape is insane there. In Kansas, that black to kind of purple, 5,000 joules per kilogram. So this goes and then diminishes fast later in the day, but still shows some Cape at night too. But this instability in the afternoon will be the strongest. So please stay safe. And this plus the shear that they mentioned and everything later into the evening will make a very dangerous environment. As you can see, southern Kansas and Oklahoma, slightly stronger shear, some spots. So please stay safe. There's a significant tornado parameter. Let's see what they have. This about late in the afternoon shows spots of Kansas and Oklahoma, some specific spots in Oklahoma very high. There are spots in northern Texas too, shows later in the evening in two spots of Oklahoma, still the highest there in two spots of Kansas, but the hurricane itself has the highest parameters in Oklahoma, but uh, everything else we saw is pointing towards Kansas for the most intense tornadoes, those cells. But in all those areas, please be careful. Still shows even close to 8 parameter spots of Oklahoma, still like in the late evening, and still some during the night in a few spots. So please stay safe. There's the updraft Halisti here too. Let's see if we find the full run. So this is until Monday, I think, but we can see a very clear signature here. Spots of Kansas, even at Nebraska, shows as the tracks from the potential supercells shows 3 of them in Kansas, another one for southern Kansas, even shows some in Nebraska, and that's a very strong track with those intense colors there. So please stay safe. This might produce up to giant hail, some severe wind gusts, and intense to violent tornadoes. So please stay safe. Show some in Texas and Louisiana, finger or two there, and finger or two further west. But that's the main area for the outbreaks. So please stay safe. And here there's like some other things too. So stay safe. There's the GFS shows like this trough coming here, and I saw there in the storm predictions that it might begin to get a slightly negative tilt as it comes into the plains, but we'll see. Shows like kind of curving a little bit. This is by Monday, alright? The storms tomorrow, this strong trough. And then there's the European, just to compare. There's something shows even wider trough. So please stay safe. Some dew points here as well. Shows like if I can find it. Good. So this is about 18Z Monday. Let's go to this afternoon here. So the show still like slightly earlier in the evening shows even to 60s dew points, close to 70s in Oklahoma. In those areas, there's the her slightly more precise. It is about 0Z in the evenings, even to 73, 70 in southern Kansas, in Oklahoma. So very moist. It's like sharp dry line as this comes there. So please stay safe. And there's day 2 here for Monday. This very big enhanced risk spots of Texas, Oklahoma, into Missouri and Arkansas and Kansas, Nebraska. So please be careful. There's a big 10% chance of tornadoes hatched for potentially strong tornadoes. This is a very big area from Texas to Missouri, spots of Kansas, Oklahoma, even southeastern Nebraska and Arkansas. So please stay safe. There's wind 30%, 15 and 5%, so big chance of damaging wind gusts as well. And hail, the 15 and 30% both hatched for very, very large hail. So please stay safe in those areas. They say here like severe storms, all such severe hazards are expected for central southern plains into the Ozarks Monday. So please stay safe. So the the latest update says thunderstorms will likely be ongoing along the warm front in northern Missouri border of the city Monday morning. Otherwise, it's mostly convection-free warm sector expected to the south. Very strong instability will develop along east of the dry line with convective temperatures likely reached by the afternoon as large-scale ascent ahead the approaching trough overspreads the dry line. Expected to scare supercells to develop along the dry line. Kansas and Oklahoma very large, potentially giant hail if possible. These supercells initially. In addition, photographs will support tornadoes. The tornado threat will increase through the afternoon, peak in the evenings. Low-level jet strengthens and low-level shear increases. However, by this time, storm mode should be massive, which is a factor precluding higher probabilities at this time. So please stay safe, especially the tornadoes and the hail tomorrow. There's enhanced risk for Tuesday already as well. Spots of Alabama, Mississippi into Tennessee. There's the slight risk all the way from Louisiana to Illinois and the marginal. So be careful as well. There's this 30% hedged for chances of significant severe weather in those areas, and there's the 50 part of the 15% is hedged as well for Tuesday. Severe thunderstorms are likely across parts of the Ohio Valley, Mississippi Valley, Tennessee Valley on Monday. They say ignore this. That's Tuesday, not Monday. And then shows like a mid-level low will stall, perhaps starts to retrograde across parts of the upper Midwest. On Monday, surface low in Missouri, Illinois will start to occlude during the day. A cold front to move through the period of warm front across the Ohio Valley. So be careful in those areas. And I don't know why they say Monday here, because day 3 is Tuesday and today's Sunday. But yeah, stay safe in those areas. Maybe it's the Wi-Fi here where I am that's low. So shows like there's also this heat wave still in Texas. In those areas, extreme heat risk still, and many areas of major heat risk as far east as Mississippi, even to Alabama. So please stay cool, be careful. Excessive rainfall still a slight risk from Arkansas to Kansas today. So be careful. This very big marginal from Texas to Montana and as far east as Georgia, northern Maine. So day 2 shows spots of Texas to Illinois, and as far north as Iowa, the slight risk. So be careful with flash flooding. For day 3, Tuesday, still shows from Minnesota to West Virginia and down to Tennessee, still a slight risk and a marginal. Day 4 shows in the mid-Atlantic, and day 5 further north. So stay safe in those areas. There's this very big area of more than 3 inches of rain in the next 7 days possible, and a few spots to 5 inches near Kansas and Missouri. So stay safe in those areas. Be careful, some heavy rain. Day 1 through 5 already shows more than 4 inches, and day 1 through 7 even to 5 inches. Some rain in the northwest as well, and very little in Florida, but some more in the mid-Atlantic northeast. Does show like snow already more in the Rockies today, so be careful in those areas. Slightly heavier snow. Shows day 2 some snow in the Rockies still, and day 1 actually even as far north as Montana and Washington. Day 3 very little. Day 4 nothing. Day 5, day 6, day 7 maybe shows a tiny finger or two, but not really. So stay safe in those areas. And let's see if there's something else. They do have a winter storm severity index in the Rockies today, even to major in the higher mountains in Colorado, some moderate Montana, Wyoming. So be aware too. There's the heat risk in Texas, as I showed you. The extreme Sunday, still extreme on Monday. Tuesday, Wednesday does ramp up in California. Wednesday, some more moderate major in Florida, and does die down in Texas starting Wednesday. Some major Thursday, slight, and Saturday does show slightly more in Texas. Some moderate, so be careful those areas. And here the full view shows like some cape in the southeast as well, especially there in Oklahoma. Those areas, the herd still has like cape as far north as that surface low into Nebraska. Does have in Kansas tomorrow afternoon to 4,000 joules per kilogram. Spots in Oklahoma too. So stay safe, those storms. Please be careful. It looks like this just got updated, a longer slight risk on the southeast. So yeah, be careful in those areas. There's still the fire danger, that critical spots of New Mexico, into Arizona, western Texas, and elevated in the California Valley too. So be careful still in California tomorrow, and spots in Texas, in New Mexico, critical. So stay safe in those areas. Be careful. Let's see if something changed. It still says Monday here, but yeah, please stay safe. Those areas. We can already see that low pressure forming there, especially by Monday. The European model like down to 995 in the plains, and then this goes there. So please stay safe. And this cold front might bring some storms as far south as Mexico, even like Wednesday, Mexico City, a finger or two. So stay safe, those storms, because 5 days here shows more rain in eastern Mexico too. And those there are still some in the Caribbean as well. In Nicaragua, Costa Rica, slightly heavier, just 67 millimeters southwest, southeastern Nicaragua, spots of Panama and Costa Rica, but also in Puerto Rico, some in Hispaniola too. So beware, finger or two in the Bahamas or Florida. But the Europeans focusing a lot on Missouri, close to 5 inches in some spots there. If I can change this, even to 4 inches, 5. The location varies a lot in the heaviest rain, but the GFS is also more than 4 inches in Missouri. The icons as far north as Minnesota, so be careful that rain. And there's snow here. Like first the herd to see if it shows some short range stuff in the Rockies. So it does show already next next day or so spots in Colorado in inches. So array shows to 12 inches, some 13 inches, 7 inches. Other spots just to 2 inches. So be careful in those high elevations. Show spots even South Dakota, the her showing. It shows in Wyoming more than 7 inches, a finger or two in Idaho, spots of Washington, into Montana as well. This is like the next 1 day in 17 hours. And some snow into British Columbia and Alberta in the mountains. And the show as far south as New Mexico, but not really, like right northernmost New Mexico, and central Utah show like a little bit, and northern Utah. So stay safe. Now the European for 5 days does show more northernmost Washington, and like Wyoming, even to 12 inches. Does show in North Dakota and South Dakota some snow. That's very weird for this time of year, but it does show. It's not that weird, but they just had a heat wave a week ago, so it shows spots in North Dakota, even to like 3 inches, 4 inches, and spots of South Dakota near Wyoming, more in Wyoming. So that's totally possible, because most models are showing snow North Dakota and South Dakota next 5 days. So just be aware, like a tiny snap of winter. So this goes and shows snow in Canada too, especially in eastern Quebec, those areas, central Quebec, some 13 centimeters, northern Quebec and Labrador, close to 26. That shows some in Newfoundland still, even to like 31 centimeters down the icon. The European, like very little in Newfoundland, but does show more in Quebec. So be careful. Western British Columbia, those areas, even to 51 centimeters, some central British Columbia, a little bit in Alberta, like southern Manitoba or Saskatchewan, might get some. The GFS is a little bit more into southern Saskatchewan, but be careful. It does have more northern British Columbia, the GFS, and shows in Alaska, like northern Alaska, big portion with possible snow, the mountains further in southern Alaska. Next 5 days, the European does have some as well. In the mountains, this big patch of snow, northern Alaska possible. So be aware those areas. And let's see here. There's like some temperatures too. I showed you yesterday and before that, but let's just see it very quick again. Shows northern Canada still those colder temperatures, slightly milder spots of the west, and still show like into southern Texas, those 90s, 100 Fahrenheit, and even more, in Florida in the 90s still. And but the show during the night, this cold comes as far south as Minnesota, some 30s Fahrenheit, and in Canada, around some -1 to -4 Celsius. So be aware central to eastern Canada and further western Canada in the mountains. In Alaska, still cold, some teens or even single digits Fahrenheit. So be careful. Those areas and the Rockies, Sierra Nevada in the US, still to like 20s, 30s, maybe some teens in Idaho and in Utah spots in the mountains. So beware. This goes still shows some crazy temperatures in northern Mexico to 40 degrees, 41 degrees Celsius. In Texas, close to 100, some 90 still. And then this goes and still shows later in California, close to 100 in Arizona by Wednesday. Spots in northern Mexico in the valleys, some 80s, 90s. This goes still shows this cold by Wednesday, central eastern Canada, the western mountains, and then this goes and still very warm later. And the show like by next Friday afternoon, let's just see here like 107 Fahrenheit on the European. So be careful to northern Mexico to 42, more spots there. So Saturday this goes and remains chilly in the mountains, but does trend warmer across the southwest later this week. Down in Central America, does show slightly colder in the higher terrain, Guatemala into Mexico, but only to like 10 degrees, 9 degrees, and spots of Mexico. But during the afternoon, still very hot in the Yucatan, close to 40 degrees in eastern Mexico. So stay safe. There's wind gusts, of course, those very strong, severe storms will have very strong winds in them, but just wind by itself does show slightly stronger northern Mexico, spot or two, and in the southwestern US, those areas today still shows here like 41 to 53 mile per gust, spots of the high plains, northern plains too, even like northern Canada and Quebec. So Sunday, this goes Monday, spots of the Midwest, the plains, strong gusts in the southwest still, and the Pacific. So Tuesdays, that should still in the plains Tuesday. So this goes. The European has a crazy extratropical feature forming in the northeast, like Thursday, like looks like a nor'easter, like it's almost summer to have a nor'easter, but yeah, just be aware. This will be like more rain eastern because it will bring mostly rain and thunderstorms. So this goes, just be aware there in case this happens. And then the GFS does show Wednesday, Thursday storms further east and does have this further out to sea, the GFS. So be aware, and you can see right now that snow in those areas and some freezing rain in Quebec. So stay safe in those areas. And there's like this goes spots of Canada, nothing that crazy, just next Saturday maybe southern Saskatchewan and the spots of Alberta, but nothing really that crazy. Potentially Montana too, in other spots. But then to the other week, not seeing anything crazy right now, but just showing the Pacific, maybe something. Nunavut, Northwestern Territories, but it's like May 30th, so there's a long time still. But be careful in those areas, especially those damaging winds in the US from those storms there. So stay safe. There's the icon, shows those storms Monday still, shows a big line there of severe storms, especially into Monday evening during the night, shows in the Midwest. Tuesday, Wednesday, further east, does have that low pressure closer to the coast, some heavy rains possible. So stay safe and still shows maybe stuff later on. And let's see if there's something else important here. There's the Colorado State University. It's very similar to the Storm Prediction Center for 15% as well, tornado threat. They have a hail threat, like even higher, and shows wind threat. And this always happens to me. Good thing it didn't happen today, because they always update the outlook when I finish the video. But right now I'm still on the video, so that's good for you that's listening. So that showed that 45% chance for hail, just added for Oklahoma and to Kansas. So giant gorilla hail. Please stay safe in those areas. They did widen the 15% slightly, like into northern Oklahoma and Kansas. It was already there, but the shape is slightly different. But please stay safe, especially the tornado. That's like the most dangerous thing, and the new chances for hail there. There's day two. The Coral State University is a giant 15% tornado, big wind and hail as well. And day three through eight, they still show like 45% chance of weather, a small area, Mississippi and Alabama. And then later seems quieter, but still a thing or two to watch. So please stay safe.